Chattis Leo has been following this event today. He joins us now from just north of Duncan. Chattis, you were in the room where Pierre Poilievre spoke earlier. What was his message to this particular riding and to those constituents tonight?
Yeah, Scott, this visit was labeled a town hall for a safe and affordable Canada, according to the Conservative Canada website. Now, Pierre was here in the Cowichan exhibition hall just behind me here. Just after 2:30, he took the stage. He was also there with the Cowichan Valley Langford MP Jeff Kibble addressing a packed crowd. Scott, I would say there was at least 500 people there packed right to the wall. Now, before digging into the safety and affordability portion of his speech, Poilievre dove into other talking points, heavily criticizing the former NDP Liberal coalition under Trudeau, as well as Prime Minister Mark Carney. He spoke about cutting back on foreign aid, addressing and lowering food prices, pointing out the high demands at food banks, cutting income taxes, taxes on energy and home building. Here are some remarks from MP Jeff Kibble and Poilievre today on the ongoing overdose crisis in the Cowichan Valley.
And I know he has a plan to make our streets safer, a plan to make our life more affordable, and a plan to have a self-reliant Canada.
But what's worse is the hopelessness that's spilling onto our streets with rampant crime, criminality, and drug overdoses enabled by NDP Liberal policies that have unleashed chaos on our streets. My friends, the good news is life was not like this before the NDP Liberals, and it won't be like this after they're gone.
So you can see Poilievre is really trying to convince the public his party is the one to fix the opioid crisis in this country by repealing the catch and release problem, even saying 3 strikes you're out as a method of justice. He mentioned the decriminalization on drugs policy was a disaster, and he fully supports forced treatment. He also said if he were to become prime minister, he would sue pharmaceutical companies he says are responsible for the opioid crisis.
Chattis, it's an interesting time, a tricky time for Mr. Poilievre as he's facing a volatile House of Commons with floor crossings, and his own position as Conservative leader is now on the line.
Yeah, Scott, the Conservative delegation will be voting later this month on whether Pierre Poilievre should continue to serve as leader. Now, Poilievre and his team were facing criticism after the aftermath of the spring election for not shifting attacks away from the Liberals and towards Trump, as Canadians were angered by calls for the country to become the 51st state. So I spoke with an expert who says Poilievre is most likely trying to invigorate his base here in the Cowichan Valley leading up to his leadership review at the end of the month.
BC was a success story for the federal Conservatives, and heading into this convention, Poilievre wants to demonstrate his strength and the fact that although they lost the election, in many ways they made real ground, real positive changes in their presence in the national kind of political scene.
So with BC a Conservative stronghold, especially here on Vancouver Island, with 3 electoral districts now turned blue, many are sticking behind Pierre Poilievre and his party's goals as his leadership review comes close. Scott.
All right, thanks so much for the breakdown tonight, Chattis.